The medieval universities of Europe were an attempt to break with established convention, custom and superstition in search of universal knowledge of God's plans for humanity and the world. Oxford was the first of these establishments in England, and the Cambridge was formed by some monks who broke away from Oxford. They settled down by the river near St. John's College, and then another faction of that monastic establishment broke away to establish a college that became known as Peterhouse, where we are now, and which is the first of the Cambridge colleges, and whose foundation essentially is being remembered in this 800th anniversary year. The important point about Cambridge colleges is that they were animated by this vision of making a break with the established conventions that supported unequal society, and yet each of them quite quickly became absorbed into the ruling establishment and served the purposes of unequal society, so that there was always a dialectical opportunity for new breakaway movements to manifest themselves in the establishment of separate colleges. I think it's very important to understand this kind of original cultural recipe, if you like, for the foundation of Cambridge. What people wanted to do, like the Jesuits and others, was to discover the unity of God's plan for the world. That meant embracing universal knowledge in a new way and abandoning restrictive and narrow versions of understanding. And so the fundamental commitment is to break with unequal and established society with the aim of generating intellectual freedom that would allow us to make a new connection to the universal. The universal, of course. This is the Peterhouse dining hall. It's rather cozy, isn't it? It's you can see that it did not anticipate a membership of the kind that the modern university sustains. I don't know what the student enrollments are today for Peterhouse, but I would be very surprised if they could fit into this dining room. And this pattern of seeking to break with establishment routine, seeking to break away with inequality, and make a new connection to universal knowledge, animated almost every one of the colleges that we will encounter in the period of their foundation. New fragments of the English ruling class sought to make a break with the decadence of their society and reform the original mission in a new, concrete and contemporary way. We're now in the old deer park behind Peterhouse College. As deer parks go, it's not very large, but it's huge for Cambridge to have this largely uncultivated space, and it's very beautiful. And behind me is the rear of the Fitzwilliam Museum, which is a classic example of imperialist fascist architecture, building on some kind of Roman or Babylonian model. You can see it more impressive from the front, but it is indeed huge, and it was designed for the storing of collections from imperial expansion. and it stands in some kind of counterpoint to this remnant of medieval Cambridge, a garden left largely uncultivated, and perhaps at one stage a place where animals roamed.